Welcome to Mission Park Cares.
And today we're celebrating so many people that made San Antonio what it truly is today.
From the signature sound of Texas
to the winningest team in NBA history.
We'll pay tribute to the special people who made it happen.
Let's get started with the place that put San Antonio on the map.
Here's the true story of the ladies who saved the Alamo.
We all remember the Alamo. Today it stands as a symbol of Texas pride in downtown San Antonio, visited by millions each year. We all know about the famous battle that took place there in 1836. Yet few know about the fight that continued 70 years later. That's where Adina de Zavala steps in. The local school teacher was the granddaughter of Lorenzo de Zavala, the first vice president of the Republic of Texas. De Zavala described herself as a jealous lover of Texas history. She was a strong proponent for a statewide recognition of Texas Independence Day. But her biggest project was saving San Antonio's 5 Spanish missions, including the Alamo. In 1887, she created a group called the De Zavala Daughters, a group dedicated to preserving Texas history, and later a chapter of the Daughters of the Republic of Texas. De Zavala led a fundraiser to buy the site where the Long Barracks once stood. That's when she met Clara Driscoll. Driscoll came from a wealthy family. She went to school in Europe and fell in love with the rich history preserved there. When she returned to Texas and moved to San Antonio, she was in shock at the condition of the Alamo and decided to join De Zavala's fight. Over the next 10 years, both De Zavala and Driscoll fought to preserve the Alamo structure and land. Driscoll spent an additional $70,000 to purchase more city property around the shrine, and she used her social pull to prevent the widening of Houston Street and keep the San Antonio Fire Department from building a new fire station near the Alamo. De Zavala took on a rugged approach. After the Daughters of the Republic of Texas considered tearing down the Long Barracks to build a park, De Zavala locked herself inside the old grocery store warehouse, claiming the building covered the original structure. After 3 days in the dark, rat-infested building, Texas Governor Oscar Branch Colquitt ordered the barracks to be restored to its original condition. During the restoration process, workers were able to prove De Zavala was right. Today, both women are recognized on the grounds of the Alamo for millions of visitors to see. Defenders of the Alamo in their own way, Adina de Zavala and Clara Driscoll embody the Texas spirit and are forever remembered by Mission Park.
Now it's time to hear about a Texas music legend.
Here's the inspiring story of Johnny Bush.
My name is John Bush Shedd III.
That's what his parents named him when he was born in Houston in 1935. But to the rest of the world, he'd become the unmistakable voice of Texas honky-tonk music, Johnny Bush. Johnny burst onto the Texas country music scene when he was a boy of only 17 right here in San Antonio.
Well, I moved to San Antonio in '52, and a big band here in town then, a big name called Al Rogers, and he was on Capitol Records. And I'd go to KONO every day when he had his live show, and he'd ask me to sing. And I liked it, and I liked what I was seeing, I liked what I was hearing.
Johnny's fans liked it too. His one-of-a-kind style and his amazing vocal range would later lead him to be dubbed the Country Caruso.
But it seems 100 years.
He began his career performing regularly at the famous Texas Star Inn, playing in a band known as the Texas Star Playboys. When the band needed a new guitarist, they hired a young singer named Willie Nelson, and that began the enduring friendship between Johnny and Willie. And Johnny went on to play with Ray Price's Cherokee Cowboys. Willie soon joined him on stage again, and audiences loved both of them. In 1967, impressed by Johnny's singing and songwriting talent, Willie Nelson financed Johnny's first solo album called Sound of a Heartache.
Loneliness surrounds me.
It was a hit, and Johnny's country music career was now on the fast track. He broke the music top 20 with 3 smash singles, including his top 10 hit, Undo the Right.
If you can't say you love me,
And soon he signed with a powerhouse country label, RCA Records. They were determined to showcase their fast-rising star with his signature voice and songwriting talents to match. So when Johnny woke up with the words and music of Whiskey River playing in his head, he wrote them down and recorded them.
I'm drowning in a whiskey river.
His original song became a massive country sensation, assuring him a place in country music history. It was 1972, but this success was not to last very long. That same year, he became stricken with a mysterious vocal condition that robbed him almost completely of the use of his voice. Overnight, he lost total control of his ability to talk or sing. And just as quickly as he'd risen to stardom, RCA dropped him from their label. Having lost his ability to perform, Johnny's lifelong friend Willie Nelson helped him one more time. Willie began opening his concerts with Johnny's song Whiskey River.
Whiskey River, take my mind.
Driving the popular song to millions of plays on the radio, and in the process ensuring Johnny's share of royalties for writing the song would keep his musical career alive.
You're all I got, take care of me.
Johnny Bush loved Texas. He loved country music. He loved his friends, his fans, and most of all, he loved his family. His friend of 40 years, Sam Kendrick, describes him simply as a Christian gentleman and a true class act.
There's a train that's bound for heaven, guided by the master's hand.
Johnny Bush will be missed, but he will never be forgotten.
When you're talking about modern aviation right here in San Antonio, one name comes to mind.
I know, you're talking about D. Howard.
One of the real pleasures of engineering is to do something that is long overdue that really makes a difference.
D. Howard has done more than just make a difference. He's changed the way how people fly the skies for the better. And his impact is still felt today. Howard was born in 1920, grew up in San Antonio. His first job was working on automobiles. But his curiosity sparked a new interest, the world of aerospace technology. He founded his own company at the age of 27, Howard Aero. Located in a small one-room building at the San Antonio airport, the company quickly took off, becoming one of the most successful aircraft maintenance and modification companies post-World War II, and the largest manufacturing company in San Antonio. One of Howard Aero's most impactful projects was modifying and remanufacturing the Lockheed Ventura medium bomber. It was transformed into a long-range business aircraft, eventually known as the Howard Super Ventura. That model spawned off other versions of the plane, from the Howard 250 to the Howard 500 model. D produced the first full-scale mock-up of the Learjet right here in San Antonio. With these new business jets becoming popular, D realized there was a better way to slow down corporate jet aircrafts after landing. He designed and produced the first thrust reverser, then later began manufacturing these parts in San Antonio under his newly formed business called the D. Howard Company. D retired in 2006. 3 years later, he passed away at the age of 88. He's now buried at Mission Park Dominion. D. Howard, an aviation entrepreneur and pioneer, and forever remembered at Mission Park.
Dick, did you know that one of the largest media companies in the whole world started right here?
I do know this story, and it all started with an accidental purchase of a radio station.
Let's let Lowry Mays tell the whole story.
If it was up to Lowry Mays, he would have never been in the broadcasting business.
I might not have signed that note. Because I didn't expect to be in the radio business 90 days later.
But an accidental signature changed the course of history.
I had two of my close friends who walked in my office one day, and they said, "Oh, we've got this great new project, and we want to buy a radio station, and we want you to be our partner in it." What I didn't know was they had no money.
Mays signed a loan to help his friends, but didn't expect what would happen next.
90 days later, the loan officer called me and said, "Congratulations, you own a radio station." And I said, "Oh my God, what do I do now?"
He created the San Antonio Broadcasting Company and leaned on an old friend for help.
I called my buddy, Red McCombs, and I said, "Red, do you know anything about the radio business?" And he said, "Well, of course." I said, "Well, do you want to be my partner? Because I know nothing."
Mays rebranded his company Clear Channel Communications, became the CEO, and took the company public in 1984. Mays was bullish for the future of FM radio and saw the potential for talk radio for his Clear Channel AM stations.
We used that model to get us into the television business, and then we used that model to get us into the outdoor advertising business, and that led us to 65 different countries.
In 2004, Clear Channel owned 1,200 radio stations, 40 TV stations, and reached sales of $9 billion. After a minor stroke in 2005, Mays took a step back from his role as CEO. A year later, he sold his company for $17.9 billion. Lowry Mays changed the way the broadcasting business operated. It earned him honors in the Texas Business and Radio Hall of Fames. It may have been an accidental decision to sign that note decades ago, but there was nothing accidental about the success and impact Lowry Mays made years later.
Work hard, get a strong work ethic as young as you can, and try to build something worthwhile.
Almost anywhere you go in San Antonio, you see places that were shaped by Lila Cockrell.
She made a huge difference in this city. Let's take a few moments and celebrate her life.
San Antonio isn't the city it is today without the guiding presence of Lila Cockrell.
San Antonio, I think, is a very unique city. And I'm not sure I could have done what I did in some other city at the time.
Lila Cockrell was involved in many organizations, but was called to public service and became a member of city council.
It was a time for me to begin getting past my normal experiences and learning more and more about the community aspects that I had not known much about.
In 9 years on the council, she made a big impact, supporting the expansion of San Antonio's green spaces and public libraries, finding ways to finance the redevelopment of the city, and playing a large role in Hemisphere 68. She also suggested a fleet of party barges for tours on the city's Riverwalk, an attraction now known worldwide today. Her accomplishments and vision gave her the opportunity to run for mayor in 1975. Cockrell won in a runoff and became the first female mayor of San Antonio. She also played a key role in keeping pro basketball in San Antonio, pushing for the Spurs' inclusion into the NBA, and leading the renovation of the Hemisphere Arena. She stepped away after her third term to take care of her ailing husband, but ran for mayor one more time in 1989 and won again.
As a councilwoman and then as mayor, I tried to listen to people and be responsive to them.
After Cockrell left office, she served to improve San Antonio, from the restoration of the Japanese Tea Garden in 2008 to helping plan, design, and raise funds for the Riverwalk's $385 million beautification project, stretching from the Pearl to the Missions south of downtown. Lila Cockrell lived to be 97 years old, dedicated her remaining years to public service. She passed away in August 2019 and is buried at Mission Burial Park North. Lila Cockrell, a trailblazer, a visionary, and forever remembered at Mission Park.
Recently, we had a service to celebrate the man who truly shaped San Antonio.
Just one of his many accomplishments was establishing the San Antonio Spurs.
Here is the story of Red McCombs.
Red McCombs began his career in the auto business with a promise to his customers. He would go the extra mile to help them buy the car they really wanted to drive.
That process was, I know that you want a car and I'm here to help you. Just tell me what you want and I'm going to help you get it.
And by keeping that promise, he found himself on the road to success, selling 4 times as many cars as any other salesman in town.
I was selling 30 to 35 cars a month, and the average we're selling about 8, and that's still the case.
Red's passion for customer care became his famous lifelong motto.
At Red McCombs, we're driven to serve.
Along the way, he not only sold more cars than any other salesman in the state of Texas, he also built the #1 winningest basketball team in NBA history.
We are committed that this franchise in San Antonio will be the very best that there is in the NBA.
The noisiest arena in the NBA.
San Antonio is known now internationally because of the Spurs. It's by far the biggest thing that I ever had anything to do with insofar as capturing a community.
He co-founded the world's most successful radio, TV, and outdoor media empire.
Never intended to build that worldwide greatest group of stations ever put together, and it allowed me to do a lot of things I couldn't have done otherwise.
And he turned sleepy San Antonio into the 7th largest city in the entire U.S. with a 250-year anniversary party called Hemisphere 68. Those are just a few of Red's personal achievements.
I want to win my turf, and if you're on the next corner, I'm going to beat you, and which I usually do.
With all his success, his larger-than-life exploits, and his pure Texas charm, Red always considered his lifelong love affair with his wife Charlene and the family they built together to be his greatest accomplishment.
Because against all odds, that was never going to happen. But I knocked them all out, and we've had a beautiful 67 years together.
Red McCombs loved cars. He loved sports, and he loved this city. And most of all, he loved his family. He has been called the most significant San Antonian of the 20th century. Billy Joe, Red McCombs, is forever remembered by Mission Park for 95 years of a life well lived. We have been blessed by so many great leaders right here in San Antonio. I just wish we had more time to celebrate them all.
But here's one final tribute to an unforgettable gentleman, Jim Gorman.
James Ward Gorman, Jr., born in Wichita Falls, Texas, the son of Wardy and Polly Gorman, met his future wife, Tina Kane, while attending the University of Oklahoma. When he graduated, he married his sweetheart, Tina, and received a commission in the United States Air Force as a second lieutenant. Soon, he was deployed to serve in the Korean War. After returning from active duty, Jim and Tina settled in San Antonio, where Jim went to work in his father's oil business. During that time, they were blessed with 3 children, Jimmy, David, and Amy. After the downturn in the oil business in 1963, Jim obtained his securities license and started a new career. He opened Gorman Enterprises, pursuing business interests in banking, venture capital, farming and ranching, oil and gas, and real estate. With equal enthusiasm, he involved himself in countless philanthropic and community interests, investing both his time and treasure. With his outgoing personality, optimism, and down-home wisdom, he made lasting friends here and throughout the world and in all walks of life. Jim had a particular interest in research and medicine. He was the longest-serving trustee on the board of Texas Biomedical Research Institute. He was instrumental in the creation of its Founders Council and supported Tina when she co-founded the Texas Biomedical Forum to help support the institute. Jim was a man of strong faith. He supported a number of local churches and synagogues and enjoyed wonderful friendships with many of the preachers, fathers, priests, rabbis, and sisters across the city of San Antonio. Jim was a true outdoorsman with a love for hunting white-tailed bucks, fishing for speckled trout, and shooting dove with his faithful black Labrador retriever. He was a world-class talent with a shotgun, winning competitions in Mexico, Italy, Spain, and the United States, qualifying for the 1980 Olympic trap shooting team. This year, Jim and Tina celebrated the 68th anniversary of an exemplary marriage of faithful support, dedication, devotion, and love. James Ward Gorman Jr. passed away peacefully at his home this week in San Antonio at the age of 90. One might think the world is dimmer now without him, but that is not the case. In fact, it's brighter than ever. Having infused all of us with his light and love, we are now 1,000,000 candles carrying his legacy forward and making the world a better place.
Thank you for joining us today on Mission Park Cares.
And if you'd like to honor somebody that's special in your family, let's upload a photo on missionparks.com.
Father's Day is just around the corner, and we have a special tribute just for dads coming up.
Always remember we love you, and we're always here when you need us.
Because at Mission Park, it's our mission to care.